This is the Dodgers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Dodgers POSTCAST on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Well, this homestand off to an ugly start, so we might as well get rolling, break down what there is to say about this game. An ugly defeat at the hands of the Sacramento Athletics. Are they still called Oakland? I don't even know if they're still, I don't even know what they call them anymore because they play in Sacramento. They're definitely not from Oakland. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, they took it to the Dodgers tonight. We'll get into the details here in just a little bit. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA, dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers POSTCAST is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet is a winner. Well, the thing about tonight's game that struck me as frustrating and interesting, well, three things to be specific. Another tough night with runners in scoring position. It seems like when the Dodgers cannot, I know this is, I have a couple of very obvious things to share with you here. But when the Dodgers cannot produce with runners in scoring position, they have a tough time winning. And there are times when they go through streaks and then figure out a way to get it rolling late in the game. They went 0 for 18 or 0 for 13 rather. It was 0 for 8 and then 0 for 5 in that series against the Diamondbacks, then got it rolling and came to life. So let's hope that happens for them tomorrow. Knack with 8 Ks. So that would indicate a pretty good performance. I don't know. It's weird. I watched that performance and I'm like, he made a lot of mistakes, but he struck out 8 guys. So I don't know what to feel about Landon Knack's performance, to be completely honest. And when you look at an 11-1 defeat, when they gave up 18 hits and a mess of home runs, granted, Miggy gave up 2 of them at the end of the game when it was already over, throwing the ball up there at 30 some miles an hour. Actually, that home run off the 30-mile-an-hour pitch, 37, 38, was considerably more impressive than the one he threw up there at like 60. That made it a whole lot easier for that first home run in the top of the 9th, coming off of Andujar, 384 feet, bounced off James Outman's glove over the fence, and then Blade hit one 402 feet on a pitch that was an ephus. He threw it up there at 39 miles an hour. That is really hard to get enough bat speed to hit a ball out of the stadium when it's coming up to the plate at 39 miles an hour. The pitch to Andujar was 64. So that's a little bit easier. So got out of the inning though. And sadly with the Miggy Rojas outing, we didn't get to see really any impersonations, which that's the highlight of when he does that. When he goes out there and pitches in a blowout, impersonate somebody, give us a little bit of entertainment. Those tickets are not cheap. So most people love that when he does it. Sadly, he did not do it tonight, but yeah, the Dodgers just uncompetitive. And one of the things I did a little bit of research on, I came to the conclusion that when the other team's starter is a little bit hotter, better, more locked in, the Dodgers are at a decisive disadvantage because they can get to the bullpen more often than not. They get to the bullpen. And I went back and looked at this road trip and I said, how did they do in the losses against the starters? And really the only one that they did okay against the starter was the loss in Miami, the middle game of that 3-game set at Lone Depot, where they lost in 10-5-4. They did okay against the starter there, Quantrill. Not great. 1 for 4, 1 run, 4 hits. Quantrill struck out 6. So the Dodgers didn't lose the game because of that. But it didn't help them either. So, it wasn't great. And Gonsolin only a little bit worse. So Gonsolin gave up 2, Quantrill gave up 1. So as far as the starting matchup there, pretty evenly matched in that loss to the Dodgers. But the other losses in that 10-game road trip, Corbin Burns was much better than our starter on that night. Brandon Pfaadt was better than Yamamoto, which was interesting and an anomaly to be sure, because Yamamoto is obviously the better of those two pitchers. And you wouldn't have thought that going into that matchup that you would feel like Brandon Pfaadt was going to get the best of Yamamoto, or the Diamondbacks get the best of the Dodgers because of their starting pitcher. But it turned out to be the case. The Dodgers just really had no answer for Pfaadt. And then in Atlanta, the one game they lost there, Elder was on fire and the Dodgers couldn't figure him out either. Tonight, that was the case. When you look at this, the matchup of starters, Springs, the starter for the A's, went 7, gave up just 1 run on 6 hits while striking out 4. Now, when you look at Jeffrey Springs' recent outings, he's been pretty good. On the 6th of May, the team ultimately lost, but it wasn't because of him. He gave up 2 runs on 5 hits, then a win over Texas, a shutout. He went 6, allowing just 2 hits. He got roughed up by the White Sox, which is surprising. He giving up 5 earned on 7 hits. Then rough outing back in early or mid-April against the Milwaukee Brewers. They got beat 14-1 by Milwaukee. He gave up 4 on 5 hits. And then against the White Sox on the 15th of April, 3 runs on 3 hits. So he's been okay, pretty good of late, except for a couple of anomalies in there. And you look at what did we expect from Landon Knack? I mean, he hasn't been super dominant. Again, 8 strikeouts tonight isn't terrible. But the thing that put the Dodgers behind the 8 ball where it was the 2 home runs to Jacob Wilson. And really, that was, in fact,
time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yes, indeed. That was 1 home run. You're down 2-1. That's fine. But then the next time up, another 2-run home run to the same guy. Different pitch, fortunately. The first one was off speed. The second one was a fastball up in the zone. And that guy, Jacob Wilson, ripped it, which is surprising. We'll get to that stat here in just a second. But yeah, that's where the game went south for the Dodgers. Look, they were still doing nothing prior to that with runners in scoring position. But after the second 2-run home run and then another home run shortly thereafter to make it 5-1, things just went downhill in a hurry. And what's interesting about that is Jacob Wilson, the second slowest swing speed in all of Major League Baseball. And this is a relatively newer statistic where that they monitor your swing speed. And look, it's a difference of 10 to 12 miles an hour. Jacob Wilson is at 63 miles per hour. And the fastest swing speed in baseball is Cruz O'Neal, swings the bat at 78 miles an hour. The average is right around 70. Shohei Ohtani is on the upper end of that as a point of reference for you. But yeah, 63 miles an hour is not the normal kind of bat speed that hits home runs. And then you just watch him in the box. He's all fidgety. And for you older guys, you remember like a Larry Boa, that kind of thing. He doesn't stand up there like a home run hitter. He's fidgety, he's just moving around. His feet are moving. He's just trying to put the ball in play. Well, something we used to call a punch and Judy. I'm not sure if we can say that anymore because it's offensive. A slap hitter is basically what he looks like. But 2 home runs. He had 3 total home runs in his career, which is like 67 games. Tonight he hit 2. So good for him. Congratulations. He's an LA guy, Thousand Oaks. That happens a lot when guys that are from the area come back to face the Dodgers. They have like this extra sense of motivation to perform. And he did that tonight and basically won the game for his team.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I think we look at this game and we think that this problem with runners in scoring position for the Dodgers, leaving guys on base, is becoming an issue. And I don't know how you fix it, but try to put the ball in play more, make contact when there are runners in scoring position. But tonight it wasn't 0 for 12. I mean, that's 2 games worth of runners in scoring position for the Dodgers. I mean, just offers up and down the lineup. Will Smith and the guy that you guys are all ready to get rid of, DFA, trade, send him down. Michael Conforto, 6 of 9 over his last few games. Tonight, 3 doubles, all of which coming on 2 strikes.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Hip, hip, hooray for Michael Conforto. How about that? You ready to, anybody with me on Michael Conforto being the player of the game in this ugly 11-1 loss? Obviously, the player of the game is the leadoff hitter for the A's, Jacob Wilson. But for the Dodgers, Conforto, 3 for 4. So congratulations. He found his way. He figured it out. He battled through a horrific 1 for 42 streak. Maybe even worse than that, but it was at least 1 for 42 before he kind of started putting the ball in play and getting base hits. And tonight, 3 for 4, 3 doubles, all coming with 2 strikes. Yeah, Eric Flores. Stat padding. How many RBI for Conforto? Fair point. But look, it's not just him. He did his job. He did his job tonight. Conforto, no RBI. The only RBI tonight was from Mookie Betts. So congratulations to Mookie Betts. We'll take the break, come right back, and put a lid on this one. There's not much else to say here. Dodgers got shellacked by the A's. I think they're just the A's now. When you look at the box score, it just says Athletics. So they're not the Sacramento A's. They're not the Oakland A's. They're not the Las Vegas A's. They're just the A's. Just the A's. Thank you very much. It's the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers postcast brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Nice win tonight by the Oklahoma City Thunder to take a 3-2 series lead on the Denver Nuggets. That has been a fun series. Obviously, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are rolling along, and every night, both NBA and NHL on the hardwood and on the ice deliver highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's game-winning shots or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. And, of course, FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. You can bet during the game with player prop, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. What I was talking about earlier with the Dodgers against what you would think is a superior starting pitcher on the other side of the ledger. You might look at it and say, hey, there's some value there in betting against the Dodgers. You don't want to do that a lot, but you could get value there betting against the Dodgers because they're favored in almost every game. But when you look at the pitching matchup and it is not heavily in favor of the Dodgers, which most nights it is, you might get a good value there on betting against them, betting on the opponent if you can stomach that. It's tough for me to do, but it's a good way to win. So head over to FanDuel, and if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Dodgers fall. They gave up 18 hits tonight, over 12 with runners in scoring position. Landon Knack was okay, struck out 8. He looked good. One of the things I liked about Knack's performance tonight was he really had a lot of the pitches working. He mixed up the hammer pitch, the strikeout pitch a lot. Struck out the side in the first inning after giving up a single. That was 4-seam, slider. Then he went change, 4-seam, change. So 3 different pitches to get batters out and strike them out. So, look, I don't know that they expect Landon Knack to be a dominant guy for this team. They're just kind of hoping gets through 5-6 innings, burns up some innings, and the offense can figure out a way to score some runs. He went 4 2/3 tonight, 5 runs on 7 hits. Of course, the 2 home runs to Jacob Wilson. So it wasn't great all in all, but you come away feeling like, well, he got 4 2/3, struck out 8. It could have been worse from a Landon Knack perspective. The other unfortunate news that we get today is that Roki Sasaki goes on the IL with a shoulder impingement. So we don't know bullpen day on Thursday in the finale of this series. Right back at it tomorrow night at the Ravine. Same start time, 7:10 for game 2 of this series. Yamamoto will get the start, so I'm sure he'll be looking to bounce back from his last outing. Although it says on the schedule here that for Thursday, 7:10 start, Dustin May is scheduled. They said during the broadcast tonight that it was a question mark, so I don't know if they're moving him back or what. Maybe that is the new rotation with Sasaki out. But we'll have to wait and see. I heard them say that during the broadcast that Thursday is a question mark as far as the starter and or bullpen day. But Yamamoto definitely will get the start tomorrow. The Dodgers did have their chances tonight in the 6th, 2-on, nobody out. Andy Pajes K and Kike GIDP. That was over quick, fast, and in a hurry. So that was the kind of night that it was. There was no rallying. The Dodgers just were uncompetitive all night. And I looked up the difference between uncompetitive and non-competitive, and they were both. Let's be clear, but they were more uncompetitive. And that kind of the definition is they didn't have a willingness to compete or a desire. And that's kind of what I felt as I watched this game. They just didn't feel like, whatever. They just didn't feel that they had the desire, the want to. And look, that's going to happen a lot through this stretch where they're dealing with a lot of injuries. And both from the fielders, with Tommy Edman out and Teoscar Hernandez. Although good news about both of those guys. Tommy Edman commented that he feels good most of the time, but when he's trying to explode, running, going for a ground ball, that kind of stuff, that's where he still has a little bit of pain. Teo with the torn hammy, they said he is getting better, but it's really a huge question mark because the hamstring is so volatile. So, but good news, Tommy Edman probably will be back sooner before later. They said Doc commented, I believe it was after the game on Sunday, that he's about 80%. The way it was described during the broadcast today, it seemed like it was better than that. So hopefully sooner before later for him. As far as the top of the lineup today, 0 for except for Will Smith, who had 3 hits, average up to 330, and the OPS over 900 for him. Freddie 0 for, which is surprising the way he's been going of late, with the 1100 OPS on the batting average at 366. Pajes 0 for 4. Kike had a hit late in the 9th. Conforto, as we said, 3 doubles, all on 2 strikes. Rojas 0 for, and Chris Taylor 1 for 4. So the offensive display tonight was definitely lackluster and not what we're used to seeing from the Dodgers. Appreciate you guys watching and listening. Appreciate the comments. We'll be back at it tomorrow after game 2 of this series against the A's. Again, Yamamoto will get the start for the boys in blue. First pitch at the Ravine, 7:10. Take care. Have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow.